Went up to Sacramento, our state capital. It was a coalition of watershed people, and we were very unhappy because a watershed program that we'd been using had its budget cut. So we went into Dennis, who's the Senate consultant, State Senate Committee consultant, and we said, Dennis, we want our program back. And Dennis said, there is no state interest in funding wetland, floodplain, and watershed protection and restoration. It's not going to happen. Later, I was invited to speak at a conference. It was a California Water Policy Conference, and the conference organizers put Dennis and me on the same panel, and the people crowded in the room to watch the cat fight. And we had our little cat fight in public, and everybody came up to me and said, Riley, you won the debate. And that's just fine. I think I did win the debate, but I lost the battle because we never got our program funded. And so I had to get introspective. I'm tired of winning debates and losing these battles. So I said, all right, we're not communicating. How do I become a better communicator? So I thought, well, maybe there's something to this idea of discussing more of the beneficial uses of floodplains and watersheds. Now, in the water quality world, we call these things beneficial uses. The floodplain management arena, we tend to call these beneficial floodplain functions. And you look at this laundry list in our literature, and the functions include, generally they're divided into consumptive, non-consumptive. So consumptive, we have drinking water supplies, irrigation, industrial water supplies, cooling water supplies, groundwater supplies, sand and gravel operations, fishing and hunting, hydropower. Non-consumptive, the list looks like aesthetics, recreation, boating, commercial transport, open space, flood storage, drainage, etc. Okay. Now, this whole idea of floodplain functions has also got another little overlay on top of it, which is the restoration field. So I'm really a member of the restoration community, and we also use the word function. Do you want to bring up the first slide? And when we talk about function, we're thinking more in terms of the ecosystem protection, restoration, use of the word function. Now, I don't know how many of you noticed in the April 27th issue of the New York Times, front page article, the Pentagon announced that PowerPoint was making us stupid. And so you will not see any PowerPoint bullets in this presentation, and I prepared this slide to help develop your brain. Okay, so in the tradition of restoration, we came into the flood management field, and what we saw were single-purpose projects. That's that first cross-section at the top. A trapezoidal channel, a little low-flow channel at the bottom that takes the low, even the kind of the really bad quality low flows, and then we put a little lollipop tree at the top of our trapezoid. And actually, it could be multi-purpose instead of single-purpose if we put a little trail. So there's the human walking their dog. Now, then we made the evolution into multi-objective flood damage reduction projects. And we started talking about these other beneficial uses, floodplain functions. And in the next cross-section, that represents that era where we said, okay, look, it is not mutually exclusive to have environmental values and flood damage reduction values from a project. So we're going to have a self-maintaining bank full channel that can actually support fish and in-stream habitat. We're going to have a functioning floodplain where that area is watered, let's say on the average 1.5 to every 2 years. And we're going to have some shade on the channel, and once again, we have our trail with the human walking their dog. Now, in this latest era, what we're finding is that restoration engineering became a goal to stabilize the environment and improve habitat for, let's say, adult stages for a few species. And this whole idea of how much function are we getting from that middle cross-section has been the debate that we've been having for the last several years. Craig Fishneck has the must-read paper on this. He's with the Waterways Experiment Station, or actually it's now called they changed their name. But if you go on it's the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer Research and Development Center now. Go on the internet, look for his paper that's entitled Functional Objectives for Stream Restoration. And what Craig says is, now look, we need to be identifying more of these functions and becoming a little less risk-averse in these multi-objective projects. And so this last cross-section has a much more extensive forest. It's got a side channel where and a lot of our river systems had backwaters, side channels, braided channels. We've got woody debris now in the stream. We used to go run around and take it all out. Now we're putting it back in. It's a very important part of stream dynamics. And now the fish gets to live in this environment instead of just passing through on a migration pattern. Now the classic example of this kind of project was the Napa River multi-objective project in California. It's come up several times in this conference. And as we put this Napa River project in, over time, as we were constructing it and restoring the floodplain and putting in our floodplain forest, the Army Corps of Engineers said, oh, we might get bank erosion. We've got to put rock in, 1 or 2 ton rock. Oh, Napa Creek, we may have bank erosion. We've got to put rock in. And there we were, going back and stopping these important functions that we needed, like erosion and deposition and meandering.